Hello and welcome to the first edition of Not Another Football Podcast. I'm Luke and this is Ollie, and we decided to put together a weekly Premier League podcast covering all the game actions from the previous week and discussing our teams, which we'll do quite a bit, considering I'm a Liverpool fan and Ollie is a Chelsea fan. So one of us is a little bit more happy than the other today, at least, recording on a Sunday.
Yeah, we thought there's enough donuts out there speaking about the Premier League team and the football in general. So we thought we'd start another football podcast, and that's where the name derives from.
Yeah, and we decided to add to it as a couple of donuts. That's all you're saying, yeah?
Exactly, mate, exactly.
Shall we start on a positive? Top of the league, start with my team, Liverpool.
Yeah, how you feeling? I said to you the other week, you said you won't win the title. Anything changed in the past 2 weeks?
No.
Still pessimistic.
Yeah, pessimistic. Obviously, enjoying the start to life under Slot. I think he's done really well so far. Inherited a good squad though of players, which helped from Klopp, obviously. But I wouldn't say I'm pessimistic, even though it is the right term, I guess. But I think it's a stretch for him to come in and win the Premier League in his first season with the squad of players we have competing against the likes of a well-established City team by now under Pep and a well-established Arsenal team under Arteta, who have gone from strength to strength each season. It should be them, really, who are winning.
Yeah, but what about if you take Manchester City out of the equation? That's the only thing that draws me into thinking that Liverpool will challenge this season purely on the basis of, like, if they were to get wiped out with the points deduction, you don't think you could push Arsenal close if Arsenal got a few more injuries?
Well, yeah, if City did get a points deduction, obviously then I'd be probably thinking, okay, if we are the ones to sustain it, it'll be a two-horse race. But Arsenal, depending on them getting injuries, I mean, their squad's very good. Ours is a very good squad as well. But we have certain areas that are a bit more vulnerable, I think. We lose, I mean, I know you can say it with any team, really, take away the best players, but we're lacking in depth at centre-half, for example.
Yep.
We're not really blessed in the fullback positions either for depth. I mean, Kostas is all right. Simicas obviously played quite well against Palace. It's all right. Connor Bradley's exciting. But would you want to rely on Kostas for a whole season if Robbo was out for long enough? Robbo, like I know him, but Robertson was out for long enough. Me and Robbo, best mates. But yeah, so then the centre mid issue with the holding, obviously Gravenberch, fantastic start to the season, exceeded expectations, I think, for most Liverpool fans. So, again, that's another positive. But can he sustain that for the whole season? The bigger tests will be obviously against teams who have more possession against us, Arsenal and City, whenever we play them. And he comes under the cosh a little bit more. How will he cope with that? That'll be interesting to see from a defensive point of view. And also how well he does retain the ball, obviously, against teams who are, they got a higher press and they got pressing now that's been instilled into them for years. And they're obviously very effective against it. With it. So that's when the questions will come up. But again, if he gets injured, then we're going to be relying on Endo again. However, Slot, he's just not the type of player for Slot. So Endo, I don't know, would be the obviously choice to go in. Would he just revert to Szoboszlai and McAllister as a two in the double pivot?
Yeah, I only think you'll play into the title race if the others are to get injured. I think if City are out of the equation and if Arsenal are to get injuries, that's the only way I can see you getting into the Premier League. But the likelihood of that happening is high on both counts. And I think that Arsenal's squad depth is actually not that great.
Yeah.
But they are obviously durable players, like they've shown that last season. And they're desperate to win, like you even see today with Havertz not getting called up for Germany on the basis of like his knee injury. It's just like, yeah, they're pulling all the dirty tricks, all of the cards out of the book to make sure that they try and win the Premier League.
Jose Mourinho style dark cards, eh?
Yeah, well, fair enough. Like if you come that close 2 seasons in the running and like they feel like the only way to do it is be more ruthless, then totally get that. But yeah, I think going back to the point of view, I feel like you could get into it if City again out of the equation and it's not a 90-point plus season for the winner. I think you're the only ones that will challenge them for sure.
Yeah, As in, you mean the outside the top two?
Yeah, the outside. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
outside the top. Yeah.
yeah. It does feel that way. And obviously we've had a fantastic start bar the Forest blip, but
Yeah.
I think essentially, yeah. If we're going to win the league, we need to have a perfect season in terms of injuries.
Yeah.
Minimal injuries, being able to go on a run. But obviously now we've got Champions League again this season. So how will that factor in? Unsure as of yet because we're not into the dog days of the fixture list. And obviously we've got a very difficult run of games coming up. The next 10, incredibly difficult on paper. If we come out with that and if we're top, I mean, yeah, then I'm going to stop believing. But even if we're, only a few points off top after that run, and also still progressing well in the Champions League, which we should be going through considering the new format. I think it's pretty difficult to actually go out as a top team. So yeah, we should be all right with that. And then yeah, if we can get being touched in distance and like you said, ready to pounce as the team ready to pounce if Arsenal get injuries and City do, or City get a deduction in points. Because then obviously you want to be best placed to try and take advantage of that. Will it happen? I don't think so. But, I mean, looking at the table, it does make for healthy reading as a Liverpool fan. But then again, it's still only a point in it.
What did you finish off on? Like, why did you think you crumbled towards the back end of last season? Was it just loss of motivation in terms of Arsenal and City keep winning, or was it injuries and depth? And is that going to be a repeat again this season?
To be honest, I'm not really sure why it happened. I'm not. I was there for the Palace game. I mean, I was there for the rough week actually. I went to the Europa League game at home to Atlanta, which was obviously a humbling defeat, 3-0 at home, and pretty much us out the Europa League, which, yeah, I know most fans, probably me included, during the run were like, it doesn't really matter. But then obviously you go on to then lose at home to Palace the very next game, and I was there for that as well, and it's just like compounded misery. We then, I don't know, it just looked like it knocked the stuffing out of us. I don't know if it was lack of depth. I don't know if it was fatigue as a result because of the lack of rotation and stuff like that, or the fact that when we did rotate, we just didn't really have the players to step in and maintain the level that we needed. We also had an issue that season with we were behind in so many games. We actually conceded a lot of goals in terms of like a top team winning the league, and going behind in so many games. I mean, you just run out of energy a lot of times with that, don't you? It's hard to sustain, and then having that, like I said, that week, and then we obviously had United in the FA Cup as well. Like this all happened in like a 3-week period, as well as the league. Going away and throwing it away with a constant mistake and stuff like that. Like I don't blame him for it, but it's just one of those things in a running that you can't have happen.
Do you reckon he'll sign again? Sign again, not like he signed, but he plays in the summer or any plays at all. But do you reckon he will sign to strengthen in January or not?
Unsure. Would depend on FSG, I guess, mainly. Michael Edwards as well, and Richard Hughes, but unsure. They don't really have a track record, do they, for going out and buying? And even in January, when we've had times where, the defensive crisis when we're trying to defend the Premier League in the COVID season, we ended up with Fabinho and Henderson at the back, and even they ended up getting injured. We had Reece Williams and Nat Phillips, and the only person they went out and signed was Ozan Kabak and the lad from, was it Preston? Ben Davis, I think his name is.
Yeah, they were both decent.
Well, exactly.
They've gone on to have great careers.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't brilliant. And even in that season, if we'd actually gone out and bought ready first team centre-backs, we could have probably challenged for the league. Because if I know now, when you look back at the season, we only just scraped Champions League. We actually ended up finishing third. Alisson's header against West Brom and stuff. But if you actually look back, I think we were top just before Christmas or even at Christmas. And going into the new year, if you do sign to replace the injured players, obviously Van Dijk was out for the season and Matip, you have a chance to challenge and sustain it, but FSG didn't back Klopp in the market to do it. So would they do that now with Slot in January? I'm skeptical of that.
Yeah, but why bring in Michael Edwards then in that case?
Because they're looking to obviously have some of the success that he's had in previous years with us. I mean, he basically helped build the squad along with Klopp, didn't he? So I think they're looking for those bargain signings or
they're up and comers.
Yeah, and bargain signings in the sense of, I mean, we still spent a bit of money when we did. But then you look back now and think 35 million for Sadio Mane, it's a snip. I mean, look how good he was for us. So stuff like that. I think they're going to look to replicate and emulate that again. So they'll be trying to be shrewd in the transfer market, and we're just not the team that's going to go out and buy the best player ready-made in the world right now. We're just not.
Darwin Núñez.
Darwin Núñez. I mean,
how much would you reckon you could get back if Slot decided at the end of the season that he didn't want him?
40 to 55 million, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe. There's a player in there. It's just
there's definitely a player in there.
It's a love-hate relationship with him because obviously, just you want to shake him sometimes. You think, mate, there's so much potential there that if he just put it all together, he could go on a really good run, and then it's about confidence. Then, so how long he can sustain it because he's got the ability, but he misses too many chances at the moment, and obviously, I think that gets into his head and the fans. We stick behind him quite a lot, and stay positive, but it's only so long you can accept it, really, isn't there? Before a manager that then decides. I mean, look, he's already favouring Jota. I think
Jota's a way stronger player overall at present. Obviously, Núñez has got bigger potential given his stature and attributes and stuff like that, and less injury prone than obviously Jota. But I think Jota for the now is a way better player. Albeit, I saw some of the chances he missed in that game, but apart from that.
Yeah, no. Well, he'd only scored. He hadn't scored, since the opening game this season. So he obviously came back in and bagged himself a vital goal for us. But Núñez, I know Núñez played in the Copa America and stuff, so that might play a part. But then again, Jota was involved in the Euros, so it just looks like Jota's ahead of him in the pecking order right now. But we'll see. I think there's enough positives to go off. Obviously, I was way more worried before at the start of the season when Slot came in. Big shoes to fill, massive shoes, and to actually start the way we have, I'm pleasantly surprised. Obviously, because I assumed if I'm honest, we'd probably be like 6th right now, 6th or 5th, and being one of those teams who are looking at the top 4 race, thinking, okay, we're all right. We started okay. We'll be in it. Whereas now I'm thinking, it looks like we can solidify that 3rd place. To be honest, like we did last season.
Everybody's talking, saying like, he speaks with such composure and speaks the truth and really analyzes games well, but fundamentally it just wins by your time, isn't it? And that, if he was saying the same stuff after press conferences and you were 7th or 6th, everybody would be questioning him. But
no, exactly. That's exactly it. I mean, we've already seen with Ten Hag. I mean, things aren't going his way, and some of the things he comes out and says,
it's not lining himself off. There's some of those,
yeah, exactly. So a good start to the season for us, and obviously our next game is going to be very difficult considering it's you. Probably a good place then to switch over to you, Chelsea.
Chelsea succumb to the classic low block, the danger piece for any team we've played up against over the last 12 months, and struggled again with it today. Although they were a bit more expansive and we had a few more chances, but we just really, really struggle with that low block. And I think there's a lot of emphasis on the wingers and the strikers scoring the goals. But the problem with Enzo and Caicedo, one of the biggest criticisms of them is that they're never going to chip in for goals. And also when you're not delivering strong balls from set plays. We relied on Silva to get 6, 7, 8 goals from set plays, and we don't have that threat anymore. So, yeah, disappointing. I wasn't surprised, though. I've said to my mate who's a Forest fan before the game, it'll be 1-1 or 2-2, and I was right on this
Mystic
occasion
Toffee.
anyway. Yeah, Mystic Toppy's top tips that never usually come in.
Should have banked it,
But
mate.
yeah, I mean, frustrating because it's another 2 points drops at home. We should have, same again against Palace, we should have beat them. But going back to your point about where I thought we would be at this stage of the season, I thought it would be given previous seasons seventh or eighth, and he does. The wins and the points on the board and where we are within the table gives him a bit more time to implement his methods. When he was at Leicester, doing a lot of reading about him pre-season, and it took 6, 7, 8 games for them to fully start playing his style of football, albeit they were, towards the top of the table, but, really implement his methods. So I think it's going to take more time with us, but it does seem like he's got his preferred team now, which is something the previous 4 Chelsea managers probably couldn't find. Which, couldn't find by the end of their tenure. But sorry?
They had quite a few players, though. I guess it was.
So is he, but at least he's trimmed it down to what he needs, and what he thinks his strongest 11 is. Albeit, I'm not sure if I agree with. I think maybe if Fofana gets replaced with Tosin, and maybe Neto comes in for Sancho, but yeah.
And then Kunku, he's not had much of a look in, has he? He's he started the season, but then dropped to the bench. What's your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, Nkunku. I think he doesn't get in if Palmer continues to play. Like, he can't play. He's tried to play him off the left first game of the season, and that was a disaster. He's going to play with a big central striker to hold the ball up and bring the 3 other players into the game. The 3 players in those attacking positions behind him into the play. So I don't see where Nkunku plays unless Palmer gets injured. I think he plays in all the Europa League games, but dislodging Palmer, who's arguably the best player in the Premier League at the moment, is going to be very, very difficult. Nkunku came on today and missed a chance that he probably should have buried, but he's just not getting the Premier League minutes that he needs for him to get on a run and dislodge, Palmer.
Difficult to dislodge Palmer as well, like you're saying. I mean, he's been unreal for you since he signed. I mean, I can't believe he's actually been that good.
Yeah, I mean, I saw him a lot at City, but I never suspected he was quite as good as he is. Like, some of the things that he's doing with the ball is just an absolute magician, and it just looks. I mean, I know everybody's been saying it, but it just looks absolutely effortless in the way that he does it. It reminds me a lot of Mata, but with pace and more ability.
Yeah, and Mata was a good player for you guys, wasn't he?
Mata was a very good player for us, yeah.
Yeah, I liked Mata before he ended up going to United and stuff, but he was still semi-decent for them, actually, as well. But yeah. I can see, I don't know why. I really thought when you said Palmer, he reminds me, I thought you were going to say Tonka.
Tonka, yeah.
Timmy Pocket Boss.
Well, give it time. You might find some alcoholic beverages within London. On that train.
Yeah, let's hope not. Let's hope not. He can.
Reminds me of Tonka. Well, you've got our own fucking Smallsy up front in Jackson anyway, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh man, yeah, Jackson. I put him in my fantasy team. He's he's not been great, but
No, he will. I mean, look, he's been 10 times better towards the back end of last season and the start of this season. I think there's a good player in there, better than what we could afford to go out and spend. I reckon he'll get 18, 20 Premier League goals this season, which is decent, very decent.
You think he'll get 20 Premier League goals?
I think he'll get 20 Premier League goals, yeah. Yeah, just about. And that will be obviously non-penalties as well. I do think he can hit that if he stays fit. Yeah, why not? I mean, you're playing with...
You create enough chances.
Behind Palmer, you got Madueke and Sancho or Neto and Mudryk in behind, and Nkunku and Felix coming off the bench. Like, if you're not getting 20 Premier League goals in that team, then you probably don't deserve to be playing for Chelsea. I think it's his breakthrough season this year for sure, Jackson. It's make or break season.
To be fair though, Madueke is be pretty hard to
Selfish.
score around him. Yeah, I watched the Brighton game. I watched when you played
Yeah,
Brighton, and the amount of times he could have just put it on a plate
I know.
for Jackson and others and decided to shoot. And it's one of those, if you decide to shoot, you have to score. But in that
Yeah,
game, he didn't. However, he has shown glimpses, hasn't he, to be fair? And obviously, he scored
yeah.
today as well.
Again, I would say it's his breakthrough season. Really, Madueke. Like he's played really well, and it's the pressure to score, right? It's to try and justify your place within the team. When the pressure is that high, you start taking on things that you arguably shouldn't. And he's still incredibly young. Like
Yeah.
he's 22 years of age or 23 years of age. That maturity is going to come in terms of when to pass it off and when not to. My worry is not so much him or Palmer or Jackson. I would say it's probably Sancho in terms of his outputs and level of consistency. Like first game against Bournemouth, he was unreal, but then West Ham he was awful, and today he wasn't at his best. So I think Neto comes in for him for sure.
I really like Neto. Great player.
Yeah.
The talent and ability that he has, obviously, it's just his injury record. If he can stay fit, I think he'll be really effective for you. He looked really talented at Wolves.
Yeah, I think he plays against you as well. Like he works so hard off the ball.
Yeah.
I think he eventually gets in. The only slight challenge with Neto is that his best form at Wolves was all off the right. He's going to have to learn again to play off the left because he's not gonna. He's gonna struggle to get Madueke off that right hand side. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see for sure. Looking at the table.
Next Sunday, the big game.
Well, luckily it's not next Sunday. It's international break, unfortunately. But yeah, a couple of weeks.
Yeah, on the 20th, right?
Yeah, the 20th. I'm not looking forward to it. Only because of you. I mean, we're at home. We're at Anfield, obviously. So, confident to beat any team at Anfield, except for Forest. But we should be able to get a positive result against you. It's just you hit a little bit of form. Obviously today was a stumbling block, but you've
just
got a lot of
in the
talented
box.
players. But no one to deal with it.
Lob the ball in the box, and you'll have great success against Chelsea. That's all.
Great success.
What's that from?
Borat. I don't know why I did it.
Wrote it in. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, why not throw it in? To be fair, though, Sanchez did well today, from what I've seen.
Yeah, but coming like that first goal, like that's his fault. Like, how has he let that header in? Goes in slow motion across his.
What? Sanchez?
That Chris Wood one, that one where he heads it.
No.
The first goal.
Yeah, the goal, he doesn't head it. Someone heads it down to Chris Wood. He flicks it on with his boot.
Oh, he touches a boot, does it?
Yeah. So I wouldn't blame him for that. And he made some really good saves from what I've seen from the highlights late on. Both of you could have won it late on, actually.
Yeah, I'm not his biggest fan, but...
No, anyway. Understandable, to be fair.
Yeah.
Considering you spent all that money and you don't have a good goalkeeper yet. But
I do think we're only one or two players short of a really good team. He's short of maybe, a goalkeeper, and that's it.
Yeah, jigsaw complete, or at least to give you a building platform to obviously create some foundations, get in the Champions League consistently, and then who knows from there. Players obviously will get older, a bit more experienced, and then you never know, I guess. But I want to look at the Premier League table because you're currently 4th, and obviously 14 points. Opening 7 games, Maressa coming in. Said so far, kind of similar with us and Slot, that you're feeling happy, obviously doing quite well, better than you probably thought at the start of the season.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that top 4 race? Do you think, because obviously Villa are level with you, and then Spurs after blowing it today against Brighton in 9th, Newcastle, Fulham. Can't see obviously Fulham keeping that up or Brighton, but Newcastle potentially after a couple of years back when they got in, Villa a threat, United nowhere to be seen, which is quite nice. But yeah, how are you feeling about it?
I mean, the competition, I would probably say yes, Villa and Spurs and us fighting for those top 3. But like we said at the start, if City get bombed out, then suddenly that becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
One becomes two. So we've just got to keep on the heels of Villa in and around those spots. There's no reason why we shouldn't get top four with that team that we've got and the squad depth that we've got as well. So I'd be thoroughly disappointed, and I think the ownership would be like disappointed to not do that if we didn't keep in the top four. In terms of those two competitions that I mentioned, Villa, I think, are really strong. They've got, obviously Rodgers. They've got good backups in terms of all across the field, with the exception of the defense. And Emery's underrated manager for sure.
Do you think he's underrated anymore?
Maybe not now, but I suppose I think he just suits Villa. I think Villa is like the perfect club for him.
Yeah. It's like
as for
Villarreal and Sevilla.
Yeah, perfect. The other competition, Tottenham, I can just see Ange Postecoglou having an absolute meltdown at Spurs.
Very Spursy today. I don't know if you've seen him after the game as well. He was just stood on the pitch and just looked like he was shell shocked. It's like, don't know why you're shell shocked, mate.
Yeah,
it's Spursy. It's so weird, the Spurs thing. Like, why? It doesn't matter what players and what group of players it is. They just have this in them. Like, they go away to United, they absolutely batter United, even with 11 men before the sending off, which wasn't a red card, to be fair. But absolutely batter United. Look, really good, really solid, creating lots of chances, but great, perfect. First half today, again, really good, 2-0 up, and you're thinking, all right, Spurs might go on a bit of a run here. You're gaining a bit of momentum. 2 difficult away games. Looks like they're going to get 6 points from it. And then they just absolutely crumbled. And then you're just like, yeah, it's Spurs. It's like, oh, yeah, and they are. That's what you expect from them. I don't get how a team just has it in their DNA to constantly do things like that.
I love to see it. But they did have a few chances in the first half, to be fair, where they should have probably taken them. They weren't
the Welbeck one.
Yeah, the Welbeck ones. But talking of Welbeck, how good has he been this season? Like,
Yeah.
and also the previous seasons, and going off, bringing it back to Chelsea again. Like, I think that's where we've made mistakes. Is that where they've done so well? Is that they've put in an experienced defender, an experienced midfielder, and an experienced striker, just to coach those incredibly young players like through it during the game.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that they've done so well. And I think that's why, despite whoever they brought in as manager, they've kept that level of consistency in their play. Because that's one of the sole reasons. And Welbeck's been like such an underrated technical footballer. Like, his movement is a joke. Like, how good he is and how he sustained it with those injuries for his age is, yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, he has been really good this season. And again, had another good game today, and he works really hard as well, like off the ball, which is obviously a manager's dream. And like you said, 33. I mean, he just looks like he's 25 and still in his peak.
Just because he makes all the right movement, like as a striker, his movement is incredible. His first touch, hold up play, like, he's just so smart. And yeah, he was always a better player than Sturridge, but it's good to see that he's
better player than Sturridge.
I thought he was a better
Daniel
Sturridge.
Are we on about another Sturridge?
Yeah. No, what about Daniel Sturridge?
Daniel Sturridge's uncle.
I thought he was better than him, but
no,
I would have scored goals, Luke, if I was in that front three that you guys had back in the day.
Suarez and Coutinho. Sterling.
Sterling, yeah. Coutinho behind.
Gerrard in the holding. Yeah, but mate, Sturridge.
Sterling was better. I'll die on the hill. Not Sterling. Oh, God. Welbeck.
You hate Sterling as a player.
I do hate Sterling. I still hate him now. But Welbeck is a better player than Sturridge. I would die on that hill.
Oh, no. No. So Sturridge is just... I know Welbeck had his injuries as well, but Sturridge's injuries is what hampered him. That guy was unreal. He could have been even better. I think as well, if he had a stronger mentality, he would have obviously helped. That would have helped massively. There's a bit in Gerrard's book where he had to basically talk him into playing against United because he didn't feel 100%. And lucky he did because we beat United 1-0 and Sturridge scored. But he is.
100% in Tiger that time that we saw him.
Yeah, well, he was living life in Tiger that night. Who could blame him?
Must know that was about 13 years ago. Me and you do not go to Tiger anymore.
Wait, I don't even think it's still there.
All right, okay, fair.
Well, I don't. Yeah, there you go.
Know.
Yeah, we're too old now. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, mate, Sturridge over Welbeck. But hey, if anyone's listening and wants to comment on who was better, Sturridge or Welbeck, be my guest.
Welbeck.
Rory Jennings over here says Welbeck. So
don't compare me with that idiot.
Hey, I like him. I don't think he's an idiot. I disagree with his football opinions on quite a bit, but doesn't mean that I dislike him. You just
political Luke. Jesus, we're not going to get sued by him. If we are, then I'll take the blame.
All right, sound. All right, you can take that hat as well. Right, but no, to be fair,
relevant.
Yeah, incredibly. But no, yeah, I think to be fair, what Brighton have done so far, again, solid start. Just one of those teams at the moment. Feels like every year you know what you're getting from them, don't you? Even when they change managers, they just structure in place at the club. Obviously, is giving them the platform to just continue improving or at least sustaining what they have. So fair play to them. When it comes to the top 4 race, I'm confident now that we'll obviously get it. So I'm looking past us. You have to say you from the games that we've seen so far, you or Spurs, possibly Villa. The only thing I worry about Villa is exactly what happened today. They played midweek, got an unreal result against Bayern. Brilliant, loved it. Good for them, good for the fans and stuff like that. But then I think you heard pundits talking about it who have obviously played in those environments. We have not. But they're saying how energy zapping it is and stuff like that. And today it looked that way. I don't know if you got to see United, Villa v United, but it was one of the worst games of football I've ever seen. And I don't know if that's just because of the energy from midweek. How many times is that going to catch up with them? Because if they go, Emery, very good manager, very good in Europe. So you would think that they will get through. Like I mentioned at the start, it's harder to go out these days, I think, in the league table format. So if they get through, it might hamper their run at top 4, I think, in the season. Similar way to Newcastle, but Newcastle fell off a bit more than what I'll expect of Villa.
Yeah, but when you've got Ross Barkley, you've always got a chance.
That is very true. Whenever you've got him, you've got a chance.
Chelsea legend. Talking of teams who are going to go down this year.
Well, it's not looking good for United. Yeah, looking at the bottom, I lean towards Ipswich. Ipswich, Everton, Southampton. From what I've seen, and I know Wolves are on a point dead last joint with Southampton, but from what I've seen so far this season, I feel like Leicester and Southampton are goners. Even though Leicester is on 6 points, but
yeah, Leicester, I feel like yeah.
I just can't see it.
But he is a run manager. He is a run type of manager. And when he gets on a bit of a roll, like they can win like back-to-back games. You can see them doing that in terms of all of Cooper's managerial career.
Yeah,
he's done that. But yes, they don't have first team 11 wise. They're probably definitely in the bottom 3 in terms of weakest.
But they've already been rumors have been spreading that the players aren't happy with him. So, I mean, obviously they won yesterday, so that maybe will help with that. But already rumblings of players, are they ever happy when they're losing? But and then Ipswich, to me, I feel like Ipswich are like Luton last season. I feel like they're going to give it a good go, but ultimately will probably fall short with the quality they've got. They need to be really careful because they've been caught out so many times trying to play out from the back with Muric.
Yeah, not the best.
No, not the best at all.
Not the best passer of the ball. But I actually think, bold prediction, I think Ipswich stay up.
McKenna?
They've got a goal scorer. difficult to find in terms of somebody that would get Premier League goals, and they look like they've got somebody in the lap. And McKenna's, I think, is top coach, arguably stronger than the four of the teams that you've mentioned there, manager. So on that basis,
Yeah,
Ipswich, stay up.
Ipswich. He's top tip. Get that
He's
money on
got
it.
get that money on that.
Yeah, Delap's done all right, hasn't he? To be fair,
Yeah.
so far this season. Another goal yesterday, which to be honest, Areola should have saved, but he didn't. Still counts. Yeah, I feel like with Ipswich though, I'm trying to have a look now at the bottom teams. Best manager McKenna, probably. Yeah, probably. Palace are in there at the moment. Obviously,
They'll get out of it.
yeah, I don't think they'll be down there. I really don't. Wolves.
Wolves are one of those where it's like, yeah, they're too good to go down. They've got too much quality in there.
Yeah, it feels that way, doesn't it? But then teams do go down sometimes when
I know that's the classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Wolves. I think they've never looked totally out of it in the games that they have lost. I mean, obviously they got pumped yesterday by Brentford, but apart from that, I think they've been in all of the games, even against Arsenal and top teams like that. So
Yep.
I think they should be fine. But yeah, it depends obviously who they bring in. If they sack O'Neill, which they'd be crazy too. But
I feel sorry for him if he did get sacked.
Yeah, stranger things have happened in the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly. It would be pretty tight. He's done a good job, I think, overall. But obviously, Premier League, like you said, strange things happen, and also it's a results business, and they're currently right down there. So, at the end of the day, if they sacked him, I think a lot of people would be of the opinion of us too, feeling like it was a bit harsh, and that they would ultimately be okay. But I guess
if they bring in though, if they bring their own choice, then they could go down.
Yeah, that is true. What about Everton? Is it finally their year to go down?
No, I think like now they've got their ownership stuff sorted. They'll spend to get out of trouble in January if they need to. Yeah, I think they would just about be fine.
Problem is with Everton, obviously being a Liverpool fan, I want to see them go down, especially with the first season of their new stadium next year, because that's just hilarious. But I also kind of don't want them to go down for the simple fact you want the derby game every year, don't you?
Yeah.
Like if Everton go down and then they don't come back up, and all of a sudden that it's happened to other teams like your Leeds and Forests and stuff like that. It's taken them years upon years to get back, and then we don't have a derby game for like 15 years or something ridiculous. That I wouldn't like that as a fan, as much as it'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious to see them go down, but you want the derby games.
I don't think this is the year for them to go down. I think they will be buoyed by the new takeover, and I think they will spend money to buy them out of trouble if they need to in the January window.
I think Dyche stays.
Has never gone down before. Dyche is in that awkward predicament that you've seen so many times before, where new owners come in. It's like, he'll do till the end of the season, and then the Grim Reaper is in the background. he's getting replaced, unfortunately.
Just waiting. I think he has gone down though.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, he got. Didn't he leave with like 3 games to go when he was at Burnley?
I thought they went down. No, he did get sacked.
Oh, sorry, he got sacked and then he went. But
he's brought him back up. I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. Yeah, you're right. But I don't. I don't foresee that. I would say Southampton, Gunners. And then who else is there down there? Leicester, Gunners.
Then it's your pick basically between
Wolves, Everton, Palace.
Wolves, Everton, Palace, Ipswich. Then you've got you got teams like Bournemouth who are currently in 13th. I think they'll be all right though.
Yeah.
Then your Forests who are in 10th again. I think they'll be all right though. These were the teams that were in and around it last season, obviously.
Yeah.
But they've made much better starts this season. Managers obviously had longer now to have their impact on their team, and it looks like it's working for both of them. So,
well, I'm going to commit to Ipswich staying up, but I'm not saying who will go down. Just never stay up.
You need that third team.
Maybe I'm not committing that.
Maybe it'll be City.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be ideal. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, okay. Your predictions. I I'm going to be boring and say the 3 that came up are the 3 that are going down. But
Yeah,
I hope I'm wrong.
But they need to do something about that and incentivize the teams to actually be able to spend, because I feel like with the parachute payments, they just take it as like, okay, we'll spend a little bit of money, we'll buy a good enough squad to let us assemble, like, so we can walk the championship or walk getting into the playoffs in the championship, but we won't take it too far and actually spend money to stay up. Like, they need to look at that, because you can't just have the teams coming up going straight back down. It just makes it incredibly boring.
Yeah, I agree. That's the one thing that we do need to sort. It does feel like that's happening more and more. I feel like, I mean, again, it might just be rose tinted glasses or something. When we were growing up, I feel like it was less of a thing.
So, yeah.
But my memory is a bit phasey with hazy.
Phasey. Who's he?
But yeah, I don't know how many times the 3 that have come up have gone down. It just feels like in recent years, it seems to be happening more and more.
Yeah.
And one problem as well is like we're having teams come up and trying to play off from the back, which they were very successful with last season. Southampton, Burnley, Ipswich, obviously, and now they're trying to do it at the higher level, but not having the best decision making. So instead of, sometimes just clipping it, going a bit longer, they're still trying to do it. And obviously Burnley suffered with that until I mean, how many games did it take them to finally change? They changed, I think, way too late, but they actually picked up some points after the fact.
Yeah. I think it took maybe 32 games.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't know why you keep doing it.
Yeah.
That was like when we brought on Yaros the other day, because obviously Alisson got injured. We had to bring on our third choice goalkeeper. And I won't lie, I can't say I've seen him much at Sturm Graz or St. Patrick's Athletics, but he did an all right job, obviously, when he came on. But the one thing he actually did was, I don't know if he was told to do it or he just decided to do it. No passing out from the back.
Yeah.
Like, you get the ball, just go long. And I don't mind that. Obviously, if you start in the game, it's different because you're trying to gain a foothold in the game. But at the time, we were just trying to see out the game. And I know most of the time you want to keep the ball, but the fans were a bit more up at Palace. Ball's going back to him. I don't want him trying to, trying to find a 5-yard pass and stuff like this. It's like, just play it safe. It's your Premier League debut. And that's what he did.
Get it, bang it.
Yeah, the classic old fashioned. But I just think it helps you settle into the game sometimes. It's like, sometimes I think the lower teams maybe shouldn't always try to just emulate the top teams when they come up.
I should call this the No Tippy Tappy podcast from Sam Allardyce.
Wait, look, I mean, there's just different ways to play football, right?
There is.
Doesn't all have to be the same.
If anybody had seen me playing on Saturday, they would have said the same thing.
Yeah, no tippy tappy from you. That's for sure.
Yeah, none of that.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I miss the old days. The viral videos of the Barclays men or Barclays players. Barclaysmen. Yeah. The some of the videos back then and seeing like Matthew Taylor for Pompey just scoring absolute belters.
Eric Edmund. Me and back.
Yeah, Eric Edmund against Liverpool.
Yeah. Finished that, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. And like Morten Gamst Pedersen and these players, like a lot of football these days is a bit robotic.
Well, it's just a no shooting from the edge of the box, isn't it? That makes it boring as hell.
Yeah. Just have a shot. Go on.
Yeah, go on. Just have a pot shot.
Yeah. Except the fans who shoot to the centre back when he's like 30 yards out. I don't like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's a good way to end it for the first one. We've given our predictions. We've given
Eric Edmund. Eric Edmund's had his shout out.
Yeah. And we're going to try and shout out Eric Edmund every single week until we get him on the pod as a guest.
If anybody knows what Eric Edmund's up to these days, please write. Because we'd love to know. I don't know why we're laughing at him. He's probably had a way more successful career than us.
What do you mean, probably?
Well, definitely. Yeah.
He's not sitting in his house doing a podcast talking about
zero
the top
listeners.
Yeah, I think Eric Edmond's been a bit more successful in life than us. But to be fair, if we could get him on the pod, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
I'm going to do some research into him now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh man. But yeah, that's a good way to end it. We've given our predictions, some predictions with the relegation battle and all that, and also the top of the table and top 4 race. We'll be back 2 weeks' time, I guess, now, because it's international break next weekend. And Ollie's taking that literally and actually going on holiday in Europe. So
Yeah. Yep. Taking it.
every
Only time I
international
can
break.
take a holiday now.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another podcast. See you later, guys.
Yes.